Exotech is a company that produces high-tech products which is smart shoes that can detect the movement of user such as walking and running. All the information like heartbeat, calories burned and blood pressure can be sent to users' mobile devices. Exotech has monopoly and monopsony power since it is the only company that's supplying the smart shoes. However, Exotech has its new competitor since the entering of GalaxyTech in the smart shoes market. The monopsony refers to a market dominated by a single buyer. In the monopsony's labor market, there is only one buyer, which is the employer, and many sellers, which are the employees. In this type of market, the buyer has the buying power over the seller, which means the buyer is also the wage setter. Examples for the monopsonist: Armed Forces, National Health Service, National Aeronautics and Space Administration aka NASA, and so on. Now, in the monopsony's labor market, we can see that the Exotech company represents the sole buyer and sellers represent the labor. From the graph, at point A, it shows the equilibrium of the monopsony in the high-skilled labor market where the marginal revenue product of the labor curve. The green line, and it also represents the demand of labor, which the demand can be affected by the change in the productivity of workers. And change in the price of input intercept with the marginal expenditure curve, the orange line, which can be impacted by economic factors such as transaction cost. Positive and negative externalities, price discrimination. When the comes to point B, the quantity of labor that willing to work is decreases due to the decrease in the wage rate. So, the green shaded area shows how much is the wage loss of the labor, and the blue shaded area represents the total wage that the Exotech company requires to pay. Next, we will show you when there is another firm, GalaxyTech, enters the labor market. After GalaxyTech enters the market becomes a duopsony market. The production of Exotech will drop, then the company has to raise the wage rate to attract more labor to maintain its original production. But the increase in wage rate might cause Exotech to hire fewer workers. Therefore, the first MRPL shifts to the second MRPL. Eventually, the new equilibrium point for Exotech will be point D, since the company is no longer to be the only firm in the market. Next, we will talk about the equilibrium for monopoly in the smart shoe market. The Exotech company's equilibrium for monopoly in the smart shoe market before the GalaxyTech enter the monopoly market. The monopoly market has a high barrier for other companies to enter the market. Because those companies will not be able to sell all the large quantity products at a cheaper price as the demand of the market is insufficient. From the monopoly equilibrium graph, we can see that the equilibrium point occurs at the intersection point of marginal cost and the marginal revenue. Point A, at P1 and Q1, will be the maximum profit point. When the demand curve is equal to marginal cost, it represented the equilibrium point of the competitive market. In this condition, Exotech earns the maximum monopoly profit. Now, the company, GalaxyTech, enter the market. What will happen to the equilibrium of Exotech? As there are two similar producers in the monopoly market, it will cause the market to change to a duopoly market. For Exotech to keep earning profit in the market, the company should produce more quantity of smart shoes and decrease the price of smart shoes. This will lead the marginal cost to move downwards. The new equilibrium occurs. The maximum profit earned has decreased. The intersect point at the demand curve and the new marginal cost is equal to the previous equilibrium point, means that the monopoly market has changed to a duopoly market. Alright, now let we do a critical analysis between the variables in these two markets. We will continue the discussion in part of the monopsony market. Based on the graph, we can see that the labor supply curve is upward sloping. It shows the positive relationship between wage and labor. When wages increases, the labor supply will increase. Next, we look at the labor demand curve. It is downward sloping and shows the negative relationship between wage and labor. When wages increases, firms tend to hire less labor. For Part B monopoly market, there are two relationships between price and quantity. Firstly, the price and quantity demand are having a negative relationship. When price increases, quantity demand will decrease. Secondly, the price and quantity supply is having a positive relationship. When price increases, the firm tends to increase its quantity supply to increase the profit. All these changes will only cause movement along the curve. There is another two relationship which will cause the curve shift. There is a positive relationship between product demand and labor demand. When the product demand increase, firms tend to produce more smart shoes. Thus, they will increase the labor demand as they need labor to increase the output. Next, there is a positive relationship between wages and product demand. As the output increase, the wage will also increase. After that, the purchasing power of consumers will increase, they will spend more and increase the product demand. After understanding the relationship between those variables, we will now look at the impact based on general equilibrium analysis for the feedback effect and spillover effect. In the high-skill labor market, the entering of Galaxy Tech in the market gives chances to labor to choose their working company. The situation causes the increase of labor wages in Exotech. Labor will pretend to work in Exotech than Galaxy Tech and force Exotech rightward shifting of the labor demand curve. The initial increase of labor wages in Exotech then lead to the Galaxy Tech labor supply curve shifting leftward and an increase in labor wage. The feedback effect and spillover effect continue to affect both of the companies and cause them to reach a general equilibrium with higher wages and a leftward shift of the labor supply curve. In the smart shoes market, the entering of Galaxy Tech through the market caused the decrease of Exotech product supply. Therefore, Exotech increased product price to maintain the company profit. However, consumers will pretend to purchase Galaxy Tech smart shoes as the product price is lower than Exotech. The increase of Galaxy Tech demand then leads to an increase in smart shoes price. The feedback effect and spillover effect will continue affecting both of the markets until the general equilibrium achieved a higher price in the market. That's all for our video. Thanks for watching.